hands in there right now. Play action fake to Byram. Touchdown. Butch Rolle pulling it in. The tight end gets the 3-yard reception. He got a touchdown pass last week for the first score of his career. Well, he's got a streak going now.
2nd and goal from the 1. Kelly on a rollout. End zone touchdown.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Ben Pearl with FitFoot. Today I have an honored guest today. You know, my team, if you've been following me, is the Buffalo Bills. But more importantly than whether he was a Bill or not, which he was, and a prolific Bill, as we saw in that lead with the streak. And boy, what a catch that was against the Raiders to keep that one alive at number 2. More important is what he's doing with his life now, which is good works. You know, Butch, we see a lot of news, this person doing this to somebody against another, against their partner, against another teammate, getting in this kind of car mishap. But what you're doing is the good stuff. And I want, without further ado, welcome Butch to the podcast, but kind of give me the skinny on your life and what led to your foundation, and I'll have you in your words explain the foundation.
Hey, okay. No, hey everybody, how you doing? Glad to be here, Ben. Listen, just listening to you with the introduction. I appreciate that. As that streak goes, yeah, that was a wonderful wonderful streak in Buffalo. They gave everybody a role. Marv was very strategic about having guys play their role, and my role was to do a lot of blocking, a lot of special team, and also catch touchdowns. And that's the fun part. And that streak, went on for a while, and it was a fun time doing a good era.
Was your nickname Mr. TD, or what was?
They missed the touchdown, and then Chris Berman, of course, with his, this guy had give names to everybody. He used to call me Shake, Rattle, and Roll, and he, to this day, up until a couple of weeks ago, I saw him at Jim's event. He still calls me Shake, Rattle, and Roll. So
that's great.
That's the name that's stick with you, of course, as a player, as an athlete. You get those names thrown at you, and everybody remembers you from that. But yeah, that like I said, we had a dynasty. Those teams were awesome, and we had great players, and I'm glad to be part of that run for the Super Bowl runs. And fast forward to now, my foundation is important. It's been growing. It's 13 years old. I grew up in Hallandale, Florida, with a large family, and I've always been around kids. And I've always wanted to work with kids, which I'm doing now. And that's been something that's been a passion. I said once my kids were old enough, because my kids lived in Buffalo, I didn't do anything until they were out of school, getting ready to graduate.
About what age did, when you finished your career, were your children, roughly?
My kids were like 3 and 4.
Okay, very young.
Yeah, very young. Yeah, so I know I had to be in Buffalo and Florida, so I was back and forth. So I didn't have time to really think about a foundation. It didn't even dawn on me at the time. I just wanted to, be a father and raise my kids. And once that happened, once they graduated, I was back here in Florida, and I saw a couple of buddies of mine. One of my buddies, good friends of mine, who I played with in college, had his foundation. I was always supporting him, and he was doing good things for the community because he was from Fort Lauderdale. So the vice president he had, I reached out to her and said, hey, I want you to help me start a foundation. I want to, help kids. I want to do things in my community, make a difference as well. And so, she helped me start that foundation. And, we started it back in 2012 or 13, I think it was. And, each year it's grown. And, man, now I can say over the past 5 years, I made a couple of changes, and it has grown tremendously because I have included and gotten the Bills Mafia involved with it in every city that I attend. We are very, very, very prominent and very important, fortunate enough to have that to where these Mafia come through and they really support us. They believe in what we're doing, and it's just a fun time doing it while we're raising money to help kids. So, yeah, it became a passion because I set these goals every year so that I could just enhance the foundation and grow.
Can I just interject one thing about Bills Mafia, because I know they're really backing you, is that we saw that with the Cincinnati game that we made, that we broke that playoff streak of the drought, and You know what's been interesting, and you know this from following, charitable works, is that Buffalo became the trendsetter for doing
Uh-huh.
this in another city. And so
Yes,
now
we
you
sure
see,
have.
like, it's salt of the earth people. I love that my parents were born in Buffalo. I love that my father was a garbage man to fund himself through his PhD at
Hmm.
University of Buffalo. He actually got his master's and then went to University of Portland. But I love the fact that you can have guys that are intelligent that'll do blue collar, and then blue collar guys that have a sense of proportion about where their station is in life and supporting each other and lifting each other up. And I think that's the city of Buffalo.
Yes, it sure is. And like you said, going back to that Cincinnati game, I remember that I think it was Andy Dalton, right? The quarterback. They funded his, raised money for his foundation, man. It's like, then that's why I seen Buffalo's was a giving city and a giving heart because that's, they came together. They've done that for other players since then. And I'm just like saying, this is a really good group of people that believe in their team, that love their team. Even while we were playing back in the late 80s, early 90s when I was there, they were supportive. Even to now, people remember us that because they've raised their kids to be a Bills fan, a Bills Mafia. Then it just follows from generation to generation. And before you know it, man, you have a whole mafia. And they're out there celebrating in every city. I've gone to Texas, Virginia, whereas North Carolina, Florida, of
Yes, I
course,
met you for the first
Buffalo.
time at Jimmy's in Herndon, Jimmy's Old
Yes,
Town Tavern, where he had
yes.
you as a guest. Yeah.
Jimmy's my guy, one of my guys. I go every year. He's one of the great supporters for the foundation, and I love that guy for that. And that's I always tell him when I make it talk to him at his events. I say, if I had 12 of Jimmy's, man, I can help so many kids.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
many.
Yeah, I'm sure.
God, so many.
He's,
I mean, it'd be
he's an
unbelievable.
original.
Yeah, he's awesome. So yeah, I really appreciate venues, and I appreciate sports bars like him, and that really supports us and really believe in what we're doing.
Can I go back to your youth? And I understand you were raised by a religious man, probably a righteous man. But was there some circumstances or events that happened in your youth that provided a calling that was sort of just waiting to be hatched after you got out of the NFL to
Well,
why you decided to do this?
Well, I think the thing is with me, like I said, being in a religious family, my dad was a minister, my mom was a minister, great values, very strict. So there was 9 of us and, a big family. And going off to college, I already knew what I wanted to do. I said, I want to work with kids, even though I was there for a scholarship, of course. And I just said, I want an opportunity to get an education,
Yep.
play football, work with, at the end of the day, and get my degree in education and work with kids. And God seemed fit, of course, to allow me to be able to play in a league, which is a very small percentage. I was able to be, drafted and was fortunate enough to do that and have a great career. And then on top of that, once I was done, I was able to establish that foundation and, live out my dream of working with kids. So nothing far as my family growing up, we just had a big family and I always seen kids around. My dad with his church, there was always youth programs and, everybody was always involved. So just understanding the nature of where I lived, it wasn't a suburban area. So I've always known that these kids, we all needed help, even though my dad had his own business, but there's kids out there that couldn't afford to eat. Even when I was growing up, I had friends that wasn't as fortunate. So they would come to our house and eat. And that helped me to realize, what, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help these kids that are struggling, that parents are struggling, that wants to go to college, may not have all the full, financial support. So we're that X factor, and that's what really pushed it in my heart to come back to my community. I have that slogan, I came back to give back.
From your narrative, and I don't know if you've cued in on this, but I think you identified something. It's not like if you only had one brother that you wouldn't have still decided to do this, but I think the fact that you had a family of 9 and you were kind of home base for a lot of other kids coming to share, playtime or dinner time or, hangout time may have
Mm-hmm.
made it already a natural fit for you to
Yeah.
come. Like some people are very like, I can only handle 2 people at a time. And that's
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing. I think if I did have a smaller family, I might have would have had a different outlook. And being coming from a large family, then going to a university where you have a locker room full of guys that you consider your brothers, over like 60 something guys in that locker room in college or more. These are all guys that you're like brothers. So I've always been around a big group of guys, a great group of people, to where it's always been family oriented. And then to get drafted, same thing. You got a locker room of 50, 60 guys. These guys become your brother, and then that's just the nature of this always being in a crowd of people, and that's how it
Now,
is.
now, I love that you're picking up on the culture of the team, and you certainly had a good culture with that team. There were a couple I remember bits in that era where there were a couple ego situations that I don't see as much with the McDermott locker room, but Marv Levy in that locker room had other strengths. How would you, not to go off on too deep of a tangent, but if you were to, because you've been around both, more in depth with Marv Levy, but what would you say are some of the differences in the group of guys that you had, which is very close to the group of guys we have now with the Buffalo Bills, but there were some definitely some differences in how things were worked out.
Well, what I hear from this group of guys now, that they're pretty much similar to us. They have that same close knit, because our guys were close, man. We had our guys that we were like a big family, man. Even though with the back in the days when they had labeled that name, the Bickering Bills, that was just part of a brotherhood growing up. Guys wanted to win. And
Right.
that's what it is. When you got guys hungry like that, you're gonna have some dissension. Hell, it was like that in my family growing up. You got guys. As kids, we're competing with each other and competing for time. So you want to do so well. You want your parents to be proud of you. So it's these guys just was that eager to win. It's not like it was when I went to Phoenix. I'm sorry. I can talk now. Phoenix was a different atmosphere. Those guys were there just to be there. They didn't really care. I didn't feel that same winning attitude back in the days at Phoenix. Although I was thankful for them to give me opportunity, which was our plan B, which was our free agency at that time, because I did want to stay in Buffalo at the time. But football is a business. They had Keith McKellar there. Marv had drafted him, and I was drafted by the previous coach, which was Hank Buller. So that was Marv's guy, and Keith McKellar gave him the same contract that I had received in Phoenix. So, like I said, but my heart was still with Buffalo. I was still rooting for them for those last two Super Bowls. But I knew I had to make that business decision because I have to worry about my future and my financial security. So that's what it was. But like I said, these guys are still part of me because I shared a locker room for 6 years with them. And that's just how it is in sports, in football. You develop that fraternity-like attitude, and you just continue to have these guys. When you see them to the day, when you see them now, it's a warm feeling that comes over, and these guys were happy to see each other, and that's how it is. But
Yeah.
as far as the comparison, I hear that this group of guys are similar to us back in the days. They have that close knit. Josh, have guys at his house. They have the camaraderie of just being around each other, getting to know each other. Not one person or one group thinking they're better than the next, because that's how you win. That's how you
Yeah.
have that unity. So.
Well, do you have any inter-squad funny stories before we get on to the event that's coming up that you have proximal for your foundation, which is going to be in Buffalo? Any maybe doing your and I didn't even know it was a thing, this Red Blue Day scrimmage. Do you have any funny stories or anything's defensive,
Blue
offensive
Day,
scrimmage
do they have Blue Day
stories?
scrimmage? We didn't have Blue Day
Yeah,
scrimmages back then.
that's a new thing then.
Oh, really? Oh,
And
yeah. Because back then we scrimmaged against other schools. I mean, not other schools, but other teams like they're doing now. I remember we used to swim against the Browns. We go to Edinburgh and scrimmage against the Browns. And then when I was in Arizona, we scrimmaged against the Denver Broncos. But as far as stories go, our training camps were very, very structured. Marv wasn't a slave driver. He was one of those guys who believe, one of those coaches who believe, hey, you guys know your assignments. I'm not going to pound you in the ground like in Phoenix. Dude, I thought I was back in college or high school with those hard practices we had. It was a totally different atmosphere. But Marv knew we had a team. These guys worked hard, went through their assignments, and at the end of the day, it showed. When the game time came and when it was time for the season to start, everybody was ready to play. And that's the thing. It was a brotherhood. That's all. Other than that, it was nothing that we was dysfunctional. Like I said, other than guys, wanting the pass, wanting the ball more, and getting upset. But like I said, once we came to grips and realized, hey, we have a squad. Shut up and let's play football and let's win some games, and that's what we did.
Tell us about the event you have coming up soon at that Buffalo bowling alley that you're going to do.
Oh yes, that every year, we have an annual bowling event in Buffalo. I have one here in Florida in April, but the one in Buffalo is always during the football season. And the last few years we had it for the home opener, which works well because everybody's hyped, everybody's there waiting to get season started. So we incorporated that weekend to have my band play, perform, as well as having that big bowling event on September the 6th at Transit Lanes from 1 to 3. The teams are filled up pretty much right now. I think we have a few lanes left that I'm trying to have people donate so some kids could come and bowl, because last year we had these alternative school come in and they had a great time, and they're talking about it now. And I told the instructor over there, the leader, say, listen, I want to get them back. I'm working on getting lanes donated so we can have these kids come in and have a great time and have a memorable moment, because these something they take with them throughout the year. They can't stop talking about it, the teacher says, and that's what I like to hear, kids talking about an event or an outing the entire year, looking forward to it the following year. So that's going to be September the 6th. And like I said, anybody's welcome to come in and just hang out. They can't bowl because once teams are registered, that's it. But you can come and, browse around, because we have raffle items. We have giveaways. We have prizes. We have jerseys. We have a lot of fun stuff that will be there.
Our Bill swag, yeah.
Yeah, that you can come in and purchase to support the foundation in our scholarship program that we give out every year. And each year we increase that number of kids that we provide scholarships to, because we're able to go into these bills functions and really, raise some funds. And that's my goal to every year, to increase every year.
And you're going to do your bandstand right at the bowling alley?
No, the band doesn't play. We play. I play with the band. We're going to play on the 5th, which is September the 5th at Mickey Rats on the Beach.
Okay.
You remember Mickey Rats on the Beach?
Of
Jen?
course, I remember Mickey Rats.
You probably partied there so many times.
I only went a couple times, but I had believe it or not, I was house painting in Buffalo. I met somebody through my cousin. I won't say her last name to protect anonymity, but her name was Lisa. And Lisa and I went to Mickey Rats, and I just thought it was a great name. Instead of Mickey Mouse, it was Mickey Rats. But it was I'm sure you had plenty of stories for yourself.
Yeah, Mickey Rats. It's a fun time. So we're playing there September the 5th from 7 to 10 that night. And then the bowling event, of course, is from 1 to 3 on that Saturday. I'm in the midst of trying to land a venue for the after party, which is that Saturday night. I thought I had something set up, but that fell through. So I'm trying to find a venue for my band to play a pre-party.
Well, all you Buffalo businesses, please take heed of this. We'll
you
put
have
this
time,
out on
guys.
Bill's Mafia, and
if you want to have a great
venue,
time,
even if it's a place where they're doing like maybe a market or something where it would still make sense. But yeah, some venue that would work.
Yes,
we got an amp to plug in, right?
Yeah, that's what we do. We raise funds, and like I said, we have a great time, and I'm trying to fill that Saturday up. And Sunday, I'll be at the game tailgating with the band. We're going to be playing at Danny's. So come on out there. We'll be on the sidewalk. You won't miss us, because Danny's going to be over there, that caddy corner, that southwest section side that's not far from the stadium, that's across from the big tree. And there's how the guy mentioned that half the parking lot they've already sold to the Ravens fans. They bought out the front part of the parking lot.
Wow.
So I'm going to cater them too.
This is a rivalry game. Game.
That's okay. I'll take their funds. I have Raven items for them to purchase and contribute. I'll put them on the spot. Trust me.
Yes, I like that. So who are your other band members? Any former teammates or just musicians?
No, I can't get nobody plays with me. These guys are our local Buffalo buddies I met.
Although I will tell you what, when I saw at the last event that I attended, Doug Flutie break out the drums, he was a man possessed. He's going from the green room, or as it were, behind the curtains. He's talking with Jeff Nixon or whatever. Next thing I know, he's like boom on the drums and hitting it like his like his life depended on it, hitting
Yeah,
every
he's a
drum beat.
drummer. He's a drummer. He has his band, so they're pretty popular. And Jeff Nixon, he plays guitar. It's another thing. But as far as my band members, it's all guys from Buffalo that I know. They're not non-players. I would love to have a group, if these guys can do it. But it's just, I don't know any other guys that really play music in the area as far as
Yeah.
only Jeff Nixon. He's the only guy I know that's a musician.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have played with Jeff a couple times, but yeah, he's the only guy I know. But yeah, my band consists of Buffalo musicians, and we have a great time, and it's a fun time and great music. And those guys are professionals, and it's
Yeah, nice. So I wanna leave it with this. You and I are gonna do something when I get down to the Florida area. I don't know if I'm certainly not a Peyton Manning, but I'd like to think of myself as at least a George Plimpton. I know George Plimpton in this book Paper Lion. He had a really bad run with the Detroit Lions. He tried to get in there and they put him in as quarterback, and I think he got sacked on one play and was running for his life on another.
George.
But,
I don't
but
know that.
go ahead.
I don't know who that is. George Pimpton.
Go take a look at George Plimpton. He was with the age of Alex Karras. Remember? Do you remember vaguely?
I remember Alex. Yeah, back in the day. Yeah,
Alex Karras on Monday Night Football. He was a real personality.
Okay.
And they made a movie about it with Alan Alda. But this was a guy, he would try skydiving. He tried to come in as a pitcher. He tried to come in as a QB, and they pretended he was like undrafted from Harvard or something. And he was like a third, fourth string quarterback. So I was never a football player, but I play a lot of soccer. So we're going to try to see if I can throw a ball to you and more or less try you as quarterback and see if I can catch a ball. And you'll give me a couple tips.
I gotcha.
And if
Definitely.
we have time, maybe we'll visit one of the schools or one of the area events, or maybe your old neighborhood, whatever we've
Absolutely.
seen. Yeah.
Listen, let's do it. Anything that works, man. I'm all for it. Let's do it. It'd be an honor. It'd be great to do that. Take you to my old neighborhoods and you see where I all started.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. And I better get the Fred Bolitnikoff stickum so I don't drop the ball.
Hey, Lester Hayes. I heard Lester Hayes have stickum all over his pants.
That was like their spitballs, right? Their version of a spitball. So one more time, if people want to donate to your foundation, where do we send them, Butch?
Well, www.thebutchrollfoundation.org. Venmo we have at Donald-Roll.
And that's an even better way because you don't up in all the discretionary fees that are.
Yes, I know. PayPal, man. I try to avoid those guys because they're not kind to foundations. But Venmo is always.
People know you are an official registered. What's the numbers of the official nonprofits? What do they call that?
501c3. Yes.
501c3.
Yes. So
and that was the good work that your organizer did for you when you started the foundation.
Oh yeah, that's important. If people that wants to write checks, they get a write off. They don't have to worry about my money is just going out of my pocket or going out from the business for nothing. You get a purpose. You're helping a nonprofit, and
it's not like you're taking. You probably have to do a payout for some of your band guys for expenses, but it's not taking a check for your own music. You're just getting to Buffalo and getting a hotel and
I buy my own music and my own stuff, but all expenses have to be paid. That's just a bit. That's how it goes in a nonprofit. If not, then I'll be sitting at home broke. It won't make sense. I won't be able to help kids. So a lot of times I have some venues that I approach don't quite get it, and I wish they do. I mean, God bless. I'm praying. I'm a praying guy, and I'm gonna pray that they have an epiphany and they understand how this works. It takes. Or more than it takes a lot, the expenses and the merchandise to support.
Well, and the other thing that people don't understand, if you're traveling 3 weekends in a row, let's just say you hit that glitch where it's 3 weekends in a row, you are on a plane with people in the winter that have colds, and the air travel, and you're just in compression. You're tight up, and I don't know if you're flying business or coach, but you're still.
I fly coach. I don't even go.
Yeah. You're huddled up in your seat. How tall are you, man? How do you deal with your knee? How tall are you?
6'5", But
So you're 6'5", and unless you get the bulkhead seat by the
that's what
exit,
I always get because I fly
you better,
Southwest.
because
I
otherwise
fly Southwest
you're gonna.
and I get on first. I'm like, listen, I need to get on first because I need space. But I like back to what I was just saying. A lot of venues I've approached, they haven't really quite gotten it yet. And that's, like I said, I'm praying for them. They're part of my prayers to understand. Listen, this takes a unit here. It takes everybody to collaborate because expenses are a hell of
Yeah.
high. You got airfare, you got hotel, you got rental cars, you have merchandise. So that's before anything even start. So
Right.
if I approach
Plus
a
the
venue,
planning phase of what you're doing cognitively
absolutely.
outside of your day job.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So my foundation fees that I approach a venue with that's out of state is it's what it is. That's how we survive. That's how you can make it. Then once we get to the venue and we accumulate funds or raise funds there, because you never know what you're going to raise. You never know how many people are going to be there, how many are going to be in a given mood. So once we get there, that's additional on top of what we have to charge. Like I said, minus the expenses where it makes sense. So,
Right.
like I said, I'm
Right.
trying to get people to understand. They think, I don't know if they realize sometimes they don't have to explain to me, I don't live in Buffalo. I am in Florida. And we're not just doing this to come show up, just to pop up at your place, even though you offer your venue, but it takes two. It's a marriage.
Right.
That's how it is. It takes two to make this work.
And you're supplying books, not just entertainment and leadership for these kids, but you're supplying books. You're supplying
Right, yeah, I buy
opportunities for
meals.
scholarship.
I buy meals. Kids are, and need sometimes they need a couple of items, shoes, whatever it may be. I give my boys because I have a lot of things that I can't wear. I give them down to the kids that can handle. Like my shoes, I wear at 14. We have some kids that have that size, so a lot of my boys love the fact that I have these nice, like new shoes that I can't, function and wear anymore. I just give them away because that's just my nature. So with the meals, I buy a lot of food for kids throughout the week, and like I said,
But for the direct foundation, so people understand, the majority of your money outside the expense of getting to the venue goes.
it all goes.
How do you benefit the kids? In which way?
Absolutely.
Like towards school scholarships for college scholarships.
That's the main source. That's our mission: the scholarships, then meals, of course, help kid with meals or whatever, and that's it. And sometimes tutoring if they need really help with tutoring.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So these funds, and I always compare. I say, listen, guys, my fees for my foundation is nothing compared to guys I play with and that what they charge. And
so what I would tell people, Butch, is, for a day, go to what's that big coffee place in Buffalo?
Tim Hortons?
Yeah. Do your $4 Tim Hortons medium coffee. Skip the Starbucks Frappuccino.
I know.
$10 coffee. And then give get an aggregate of you to give some money to a good cause. That's what I would say.
Listen, to me personally, I'll take Tim Hortons over Starbucks any day. That's how good Tim Hortons is. I buy the K-Cups by the boxes. I have them from Amazon. I hit them. As a matter of fact, I just had a package come yesterday with 4 boxes of the K-Cups and so many. So, yeah, I do Tim Hortons here. Before, it was hard to get it. I couldn't find it in Florida. Then all of a sudden, it appeared in Publix. And I saw on Amazon say, finally, they got it because I tried.
I hope the Tim Hortons Corporation is listening to this because maybe I'll have to hit them up too.
I want them to hear this as well. I hope somebody from that organization listen. Many years ago, I tried to buy a Tim Hortons here when I retired. I'm in Florida.
Sure.
And I know I'm back and forth, Mike. It's a lot of Buffalonians, a lot of Canadians come down here in the wintertime. I looked into trying to get a Tim Horton on the beach in Hollywood. They don't want stores in Florida for whatever reasons. I don't know why they don't want a store in Florida, but I tried. They wouldn't allow franchises in Florida. And that was disappointing because it would have done well. And I would have had another one because that's how much.
That's interesting. I guess they like that connection over the Peace Bridge to for whatever reason, regionally.
Yeah. But you know what? It's one in Georgia. When I did some research a few weeks ago, there's one in Georgia, I think Tennessee. So they have them, the closest in Georgia. That's it. They don't have nothing in Florida. So I don't know who owns that, but I wish they would have, considered having one in Florida. Like I said, that coffee
Oh,
is
I
really
think
good.
I think for all the snowbirds, it's a no-brainer. All the buffalo snow.
That's what
It's a
I'm trying to tell you.
no-brainer.
It would have been a great idea, a great time, a great
Yeah.
opportunity to have Tim Hortons here. I was trying
Well,
and it just did not happen.
hopefully the leadership at Tim Hortons is hearing this podcast and they'll
I sure
consider
hope
it.
so.
And yeah. Well,
Guys,
listen,
broaden your horizon if you are. Broaden your horizon. Get out of the Midwest and up there where you're at. I know you're in Georgia. I think there's one I seen in Georgia. You need to let open up those doors, those gates to Florida. I'm telling you.
Butch, listen, have fun at the home opener. We're all pulling for Buffalo for finally cashing in and not just making the Super Bowl, but winning. They got to stay healthy. We know that.
Absolutely.
Looking
I
at
feel
freeze, they definitely got to stay healthy.
I feel San Francisco in the mix this year in 26 because the 25 season here in the Super Bowl is during the early of the year. So I really feel that they've addressed the defense. They stay healthy, like you just said, and man, we have a team, we have a quarterback, we have an offense. They had over 30 points every game last year. So it definitely, this team is really set to move forward and make some things happen, man.
I look forward to the next time I see you in person.
Absolutely.
We'll football like a rock, and then we'll maybe, if we have time, visit either one of your old haunts in Hollandale or some of the schools that you're working with locally. Look forward.
Sure, thanks, and thanks a lot.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Take care. Go Bills.
Go Bills. All right.
That was good, man.
Hold the emails. I know dolphins are mammals, but, switch the fish. If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press, and oh, yes, go Bills.